For over 10 years, I've worked with transformational healers, founders, and empathic leaders who were exhausted in ways that medicine couldn't explain. They'd done therapy, taken medications, changed their diets, tried every self-care practice, and they still felt empty. It took me decades to understand what I was actually seeing. It's soul loss. It's not burnout. It's not depression. It's not adrenal fatigue. It's soul loss. It's the literal absence of your life force from your body. And once you understand this, everything about your exhaustion finally makes sense. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you what took me 30 years of training and over 10 years of applied practice to understand about soul loss, what it actually is, how to recognize it, and why it explains the exhaustion that nothing else has been able to touch. You're exhausted in a way that doesn't make sense. Your labs are normal. You've tried everything, and yet you feel empty, hollow, like the lights are on, but nobody's home. People tell you it's burnout or depression or stress, but those diagnoses never quite fit. There's something deeper missing, and you can feel it even if you can't name it. I'm Dr. Oscar Perez, the soul recovery specialist, and the author of The Flower in War. For the last decade, I've worked with hundreds of healing professionals experiencing what Western medicine calls treatment-resistant burnout. But it's not treatment-resistant. It's just not what they think it is. It's soul loss. And soul loss requires a completely different approach. I'm going to share the 5 most important things that I've learned about soul loss in the last 10 years of working with people, in the last 30 years of training, the insights that changed everything for me and for the healers and leaders that I work with. The first of those things is that soul loss is real. It's not metaphorical. It's not spiritual bypassing. It's not some like woo-woo imaginary thing. It's a recognized phenomenon in shamanic and indigenous healing in traditions across the world, traditions that are thousands of years old. It describes the literal departure of a part of your life force from your body due to trauma or overwhelming stress. This isn't poetry, it's observable. People describe feeling not there, watching their life from the outside, or feeling empty inside. And it's because your consciousness, or a piece of it, detaches from your body as a protective mechanism. A part of your soul or life force leaves when your environment or an experience is too painful. Here's what took me years to accept. Soul loss isn't a metaphor. It's a measurable absence. For the first decade of my learning, my training in this, I treated soul loss like metaphorical language, as a way to describe disconnection or even trauma. Then I started listening to what transformational healers, founders, and empathic leaders were telling me. I'm not in my body, they would say. I feel like I've left and never came back. Or there's nothing inside me. Even when they were high functioning, what they were saying wasn't metaphorical. They were speaking of an actual displacement of their consciousness. So think of your body as a house and your soul as the inhabitant of the house. Trauma is like a fire. And when that fire starts, the inhabitant, your soul, runs out to survive. The fire is eventually put out, the house is repaired, but the inhabitant is still standing outside, afraid to go back in. The house looks fine from the outside, but inside it's empty. And that emptiness, that's soul loss. It doesn't happen all at once, though. It happens bit by bit, one experience at a time. Stop treating your emptiness as depression or a character flaw. Consider, what if a part of your soul actually left your body and it hasn't fully returned? But here's what most people misunderstand about how this happens. Soul loss doesn't necessarily require big T trauma. It can come from prolonged emotional labor that drains you over time or separates you from parts of yourself at a time. Most people think that soul loss is what happens from major trauma, from things like violence, near-death experiences, abuse. But for many empathic healers and leaders, soul loss is also the prolonged emotional labor without reciprocity. It's from years of holding others' pain, carrying emotional weight, being the container, and your soul leaves gradually, bit by bit. Not in one dramatic moment, but piece by piece over time. This is why naturally empathic healers and leaders don't recognize it, because there might not be a single event to point to. These parts of your soul didn't leave in one moment. They left slowly over years of giving without receiving. Every empathic healer and leader that I work with asks, but I don't have major trauma. Why do I feel like this? Well, that's because their soul loss didn't come from a single wound. It came from 1,000 small moments of holding pain that wasn't theirs, of absorbing emotions from others without discharge, of giving away energy without restoration. And this can also be compounded by ancestral baggage that they've inherited. So imagine if you have a bank account where you make small withdrawals every day, $10 to $20 a day, nothing significant. But after 10 years of daily withdrawals with no deposits, you're bankrupt. That's soul loss from emotional labor. Each client session or each crisis that you've managed, every one of those moments when you were giving were small withdrawals. But without putting anything back in, there's nothing left. So there's no significant dramatic moment, and you don't understand why you feel so empty. So do you remember a specific trauma that caused that sense of emptiness or exhaustion? Or has it been gradual? Years of giving, carrying others, until there was nothing left. That's soul loss from cumulative depletion. Now here's the part that changes how you see everything. These parts of you, these parts of your soul, they left to protect you as a whole. And now they don't know that it's safe to return. Soul loss is something that is protective. It's not pathological. It means that parts of your soul left because being in your body was too painful. And this was an intelligent adaptation. It's consciousness evacuating an uninhabitable situation. The problem is that even when the threat is gone, that part of your soul doesn't automatically return. It's still outside, waiting for proof that it's safe to come home. This is why time alone doesn't heal soul loss. The conditions haven't changed enough to signal safety. Your soul, or these fragmented parts of it, are waiting outside the door, and they need you to prove that it's safe to come back. High-performing healers and empathic leaders tell me, but my life is better now. I'm safe. Like, why do I still feel empty? It's because their soul left during unsafe conditions, during chaos, during emotional overwhelm, during trauma, during moments of self-abandonment. And the soul doesn't operate on logic. It operates on felt safety. So imagine a child who ran away from a dangerous home. Like, years later, the danger is gone. That violent parent left. The house is peaceful. But the child is still hiding in the woods, afraid to return. You can't just call out, hey, it's safe now, and expect them to believe you, especially if you're the one that abandoned them to begin with. You have to start slowly, patiently. You have to create safety that they can feel, not that they understand intellectually. That's what soul recovery requires. Ask yourself, has your external life improved, but you still feel like something is missing? Do you intellectually know that you're safe, but your body doesn't quite believe it? Does it feel like something left you years ago and never came back? If the answer is yes to all three of these, then a significant part of you has been displaced and is waiting for proof that it's safe for it to return. So how do you actually call these parts of your soul back? This is what most approaches get wrong. If this is finally making your exhaustion make sense, subscribe for more on soul recovery for empathic leaders and transformational healers. Sign up for a soul recovery consultation. The link is in the description. You can't think your soul back into your body. It requires embodied invitation. Soul loss is somatic and spiritual. It's not cognitive or psychological. You can't therapy your way into soul recovery. Your soul doesn't respond to intellectual understanding or willpower. It responds to physical safety signals like grounding, energetic invitation through things like ritual, and proof that your body is habitable again, that you are trustworthy again. This requires embodied practice, not mental processing. Stop trying to understand your way back to wholeness. Your soul doesn't speak in rational language. For years, I've watched phenomenal healers and empathic leaders do intensive therapy, trying to cognitively process their way to feeling whole. It rarely worked. What did work was embodied practice. Lying on the earth, speaking to their soul directly, creating ritual space for return. The soul responds to presence, safety, and invitation, not insight. Imagine trying to call a lost dog home by writing it a letter explaining why it should return. The dog, no matter how loyal it is, doesn't read language. It responds to the tone of your voice, the smell of home, the physical presence of safety. Your soul is the same. It doesn't care about your insights or understanding. It needs to feel safety, hear invitation, sense that home is habitable again. Notice if you've been trying to understand your way to feeling whole. By reading more books, doing more therapy, getting on the newest trends of diagnoses, analyzing your patterns. If understanding hasn't restored you, it's because soul loss requires embodied action. It requires that much more than intellectual insight. Here's what actually works that I've seen after 20 years of working in this. Soul recovery is simple, but it requires consistency. Soul recovery isn't one dramatic ceremony. It's repeated, gentle invitations for these fragmented parts of you to return. You create conditions of safety, ground your body, speak that invitation out loud, and when that part of you returns, you integrate it consciously into your day-to-day life. Each time you practice, more of your life force comes back. This requires patience, consistency, and trust in the process. These fragmented parts of your soul, they won't be dragged back. They have to be invited again and again until they trust you. The phenomenal healers and empathic leaders who successfully recover these lost parts of their souls, they don't do it through one big retreat, through one ayahuasca ceremony, through EMDR sessions. They do it through daily practice, through ancestral practices and rituals that help them reconnect on a spiritual level. It is slow, it is patient, and it is consistent practice that allows for these parts of them to return. So you have to stop expecting one big moment to change everything. You have to stop trying to force yourself to feel whole through willpower. And you have to stop treating this as a problem that you can solve intellectually. Instead, you have to start embodied daily practices that speak in the language of your soul, that speak directly to those parts of you through invitation and not demand. And you need to learn how to create rituals that help unify the wholeness of who and what you are. Here's a practice that I offer to everyone that I work with. Soul recovery requires creating safety in your body while speaking a direct invitation to these lost or fragmented parts of you, and repeat it daily until your life force trusts that it's safe to return, until these fragments of your soul feel like you're trustworthy. This practice combines grounding, which provides physical safety, verbal invitation, which actually calls those parts of you home, and embodies presence, which shows that your body is habitable. And it works because daily repetition proves consistency. Your soul needs consistent proof that it can trust you. Earth grounding actually reduces cortisol and has an ancestral connection to it. And your embodied presence shows that you are ready to do this work. Over time, your life force gradually returns. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Soul recovery is like coaxing a frightened animal back home. You can't just grab it because it'll run. You have to sit at the threshold every day. You have to leave food or offerings. You have to speak softly. You have to prove that you're safe. Day after day, that animal comes closer and closer. Eventually, it trusts you enough to come inside. That's the process. Patient, consistent, gentle invitation that allows for that part of your soul to know that it's safe to return. So starting tonight, practice this ritual. Go outside and lie on the earth or sit on the ground with your bare feet on the ground. Place both hands flat on the ground and feel the physical contact. Like somatically, tangibly, feel that you're safe and supported. And repeat, the earth is holding me. I cannot fall. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and speak loudly to that part of you. I'm calling you home. I am safe now. My body is safe for you. Tell it, the chaos is over. The pain has space. You are no longer alone in this. And specifically, say to it, I need you back. I want you here. Please come home. Then sit in silence and notice what you feel. Notice what comes up to you. Stay grounded, breathe fully, and notice any sensations, any warmth or heaviness or presence. Then again, say to it, I welcome you home. I'm ready to learn from you. I'm ready to integrate you back into my life. Then place your hands on the earth one more time and say, thank you for coming closer. I'll be here again tomorrow. Stand slowly and notice how you feel. Practices like this, they prove consistency. They help to ground your energy, which signals somatic safety, and speaking the invitation gently calls back those parts of you that have not felt safe to be with you. Patience and repetition is essential in this kind of work. Over weeks or months, you'll notice more presence, more vitality, more aliveness. You'll also start to notice different things popping up in your dreams, in your daydreams, different kinds of inspirations. It took me 30 plus years of learning about this to understand what I just shared with you in 12 minutes. Soul loss is real. It's not metaphorical. It's not just psychological. It's the actual absence of your energetic life force. And it can return, not through thinking, not through forcing, but through patient embodied invitation. These parts of you are waiting to come home. You just have to prove that it's safe. Subscribe for more on soul recovery and embodied healing for empathic leaders and transformational healers. And if you're ready for guided support on soul recovery, check the link in the description for a soul recovery consultation. These parts of you remember you, and the more you can call them back, the more full of energy, vitality, inspiration, and beauty your life will be. So let's bring them home.